So as he said, he was like, oh, shit. Did I just say that shit again? God, what the fuck is wrong with me? Oh, shit. You know, I mean, he had that conversation as quick as he said it. You understand? And as soon as he said it, he knew he had to he went into repair mode. The campaign guy was like, God damn it, Joe! Said the shit again. What the, Joe? What is going on with you? The cameras are on, Joe. You're not having a conversation with me. You understand? After all the 8 years of sitting around Barack and had to watch myself, now it's like I can't bottle it now. Like it's just, you know what I'm saying? Just saying things. I mean, just who I am. Why can't I just be who I am? Well, you want to be fucking president? I mean, shit. If that's the case, well, what's the strategy? What is going to be the strategic point of going against that motherfucker that's already in there? If he's like that, and if you're coming like that, then what the fuck is the need of a change, Joe? Come on, you're fucking blowing it. You're blowing it, fucking Joe. And welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. I am your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is Black Minds News Report. Black Minds News is to report, articulate, transmit, communicate, insinuate, develop, investigate, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether by news, video, website, or quotes from publications. As I articulate this information, let the creator of the universe be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit. Because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created this land that you call the United States, we, the today's generation, present generation, and offsprings, we give honor to our ancestors. You know what the motto of my show is? I'm never gonna tell you what I heard. I'm only gonna tell you what I know. Today's date is May 26, 2020. Have you heard? Have you heard? Well, there's a story going in Atlanta, Georgia, where it looks like an individual tried to say he wanted to be sick off from work. But this is an unusual way to try to get time off and get paid. Well, based on what they were paying, based on the company that you work for, I'm pretty sure you need to make sure you cross your I's and dot your T's. Well, you're gonna check this story out. There was a Karen alert going in Ramble Park in New York, out there walking the dog with no leash, and the BADOS decided to say, hey, put a leash on your dog. Well, you know what happens when Karen is in distress? She made the phone call. Get ready to check that out. Last and not least, for the 3-shot, well, in Minneapolis, black man was killed right before your eyes in Minneapolis. And when you hear the story, well, it's another one of these stories. So again, stay tuned as we get into this broadcast. Hey, how's y'all doing, everybody? Again, this is your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Again, I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and first and foremost, I want to say, what's good to my fam? My subscribers, old, faithful, and reliable, most of you, a percentage of you, many I think might just be agents and ops. For those who do come over here, thank you kindly, and to my new subscribers as well. Welcome to the family of the Black Minds News Report. We're trying to be on the daily. We know sometimes we have some problems over here, but we're going to fight to get through it. So just stay tuned and be patient. We will be doing what we're supposed to be doing. If you should happen to be a passerby, welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. Go down the aisle. We always got a grand opening over here. See some things on some of the videos. You might see something to make you may feel some kind of way. Remember that the motto of my show is the truth. Don't need no partner. So I made a video that was supposed to be put out yesterday. It's about a 2-hour and 44-minute video. Kind of dealing with what you heard in the intro, right? Because you kind of say, well, Mr. Burbank, how come you ain't did nothing on Joe Biden? I did. I did it the day it happened. Then I went back into the drum board, did something again. And I might be releasing it just based on this last story we're going to do on today's show. And so many people talked about it. But, you know, that was some old show that I did with Joe Biden when he had that folks part about talking about poor kids as good as white kids. So, you know, he's been, slipping on the banana peel a lot. So, we'll get into that at the appropriate time, but not for this show. That was just something I want to introduce into the show as a theme to start it off. But we're going to go ahead and I got this particular story here I want to talk about. Because it's one of those situations where, when you young, right, and it gets hot in the summertime and your boy is balling or going to ball or going to a party and got some females with them, you try to take a sick time. Right? You try to call in, you say, hey, man, I ain't coming in today. Boss kind of like, right, okay, whatever, right? And people do that. But what happens when you in a pandemic and a green light comes on in your head that based on something that had been mentioned, and you thought this was a good opportunity for you to use it, right? But sometimes when you don't foolproof, cover all your corners, and think you can turn in sloppy work and think somebody's going to pay you for it, well, check this story out. Are we ready? I think we ready. We ready? We can go ahead. So I think we about ready. So go ahead, go and do what you got to do. And I'll come back after this, right? We'll come back after this. So we ready? Go ahead, crank that up. Is everything good to go? Because I don't know if you check to make sure everything's good to go. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might have to do that. We didn't do that? Okay, we'll go ahead and do it anyway. Let's see how we're going to make it roll. Let's do it. Check it out. Be back after this, y'all. Check this out. Georgia man allegedly faked coronavirus diagnosis to employer. Faces federal charges. I'm going to say that again. Georgia man allegedly faked coronavirus diagnosis to employer. Faces federal charges. San Juan Antonio Davis, 34, of Morrow, Georgia, caused unnecessary economic loss to his employer and distress to his co-workers and their families, a federal prosecutor said. This story is coming out of NBC News, May the 23rd, 2020, and this is how it reads. A Georgia man who allegedly faked a coronavirus diagnosis to his employer, leading the business to temporarily shut down, is facing federal charges. San Juan Antonio Davis, 34, of Morrow, about 15 miles south of Atlanta, is charged with defrauding his employer after he allegedly faked a medical excuse letter. He has since admitted to authorities that he had not have the virus, according to a press release from the United States Attorney Office in Atlanta. Davis, who was employed by an unidentified Fortune 500 company, told his supervisor in March that he had tested positive for the coronavirus and emailed a letter stating that he had been admitted to the hospital and needed to be quarantined for 14 days, an affidavit states. Days prior, the company had told employees that if they had the virus, they would receive paid time off while they're quarantined. The company human resource manager reviewed the excuse letter and observed some indicia a fraud. According to the affidavit, the letter stated that Davis was discharged on November 10th, 2019, months before the purported admission date. The letter was unsigned. The letter did not appear to be on former letterhead. The company called the hospital where Davis said he was treated and was told that he was not a patient there in March. Davis' employers also asked for a copy of his positive test result, but he refused to give it to them, according to the documents. Out of abundance of caution, the company shut down for cleaning and at least 4 workers had to quarantine. The prosecutor said Davis' alleged scheme cost the company more than $100,000. He has since been fired. The defendant caused unnecessary economic loss to his employer and distress to his co-workers and their families, said U.S. Attorney Young Pak from the Northern District of Georgia. Davis was released on a $15,000 bond. His attorney did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Saturday. We are back, right? So we see that somebody had a grandiose idea that this was the perfect time for me to go ahead and try to use this sick letter to get about 14 days, right, of pay and use the event to justify it. You know what I'm saying? Met me a nice little new honey. That's what you want to do. You want to support you. Want to spend some time. 2 weeks. You can do a lot in 2 weeks. Matter of fact, you probably go see a whole bunch of people. But in this case, you can't because of the coronavirus. So being quarantined, I guess, had to be somebody who, who's quarantined with you, right? But, this individual here, they put his whole name in it, right? They put his whole name, Santuan Antonio Davis, right? They put bruh whole name up into the whole situation, right? They like, man, you know what I'm saying? They put his whole name out there. And so he's 34 years old. Now what they got is a federal charge on him saying that he has a fake coronavirus diagnosis, that he used a fake medical excuse, right? I remember, time telling the truth in a situation. Let's say, for instance, you went out and let's say you with family, somebody had a birthday and you celebrated. Maybe you got a little too drunk and maybe your job dealing with drinking. So you call in on the telephone, call the boss up, say, hey, you know what? I think I drank a little too much. Woo, 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 woo. I ain't coming in. Now, depending on the report you got with your boss, and if you ain't walking on eggshells, you on the last thread before getting fired, then you made that, okay, don't come in. Okay, you drunk? Oh, okay, don't come in, right? So telling the truth, I seen in the situation from personal experience, even telling the truth don't work. They still fire you, right? So in this case, my man, Santuan Antonio Davis, decided that this would be a grand opportunity with so much being reported, so many people coming down with it. He felt like this was I'm going to use this one. I'm going to pull this into my trigger bags right here, right? And so I don't think you thought about this too extensively because, again, it's got to go through the proper protocol, change the protocol, because you're talking about getting paid while obviously it's according to this here, what it states here, that this is a Fortune 500 company. So you were still open, which means it's considered essential. Now, I don't know what kind of work it is. They really didn't disclose what type of Fortune 500, but Fortune 500, you being a black man, 34 years old, making some type of sums of money. I'm pretty sure some people in there may not have been really happy with you just being in there. You get what I'm saying? And so you seen the opportunity, you thought this was something you took, and you went with it. The problem is when I look at this story about what they report. Now, again, I don't say that this is verbatimly everything that went down in the situation, but we're just going to say, according to the way that this article has written, it says that somehow you emailed a letter to your job telling them that you had been admitted to the hospital, right? You emailed them. Now, many of those people who don't watch a lot of TV court, you know, them emails become, right? The email will become evidence when it's time for you to go to court. Now, whatever you said in there, you're going to have to hold to it. So when you stated that, you already had gave evidence to your job that, you know what I'm saying, I'm being admitted in the hospital. Now, that might have been okay if you would just go ahead and admit it and just say, okay, I'm not sure what they're going to, but you said you was going to be quarantined, that you have a coronavirus. So that means you have to have a positive test. So again, maybe you didn't think all this through, right? Maybe you couldn't have. Because according to the article, it goes on, says that days prior to you supposedly pulling the move, they said that the company was talking about giving PTO. Now, what's PTO, y'all? Paid time off. Now, anybody who should get quarantined, we will pay you for being quarantined. So some light went off in his head, and he said, man, I want some time off, and I want to be paid. So he felt like this was a good time to pull it. So what ended up happening? Now, in order for you to get paid, there has to be paperwork, right? So you can't just call in saying this and we're going to pay you, and then there's nothing to substantiate, to validate your claim. So that means now you have to have paperwork, because they got to go through the process for why they paying you. Otherwise, it was just somebody paying you just because of your word. Then guess what? Everybody in there going to claim, I got corona too, to get paid not to go to work. Now again, if you get paid to not go to work, now I know they put all this on a lot of our heads, like, you know, somebody who's just lazy and don't want to work. But that's what they were talking about, the reason why they kind of like slow on this stimulus money. When they was one time talking about paying you every month until this was over. That's why they're trying to hurry up and get it back open. Because why? It's not so the fact that $1,200 is a lot of money. But then there's a lot of people, when you look at who are getting that money, who don't even make $1,200. You get what I'm saying? Because, I mean, there's, in certain states, some people just start getting the $15. They're just starting to get a lick of that, right? I think it was just this year, right? They're just getting a lick of that. And then everything just fell apart, right? So they realize that now that they're getting this cut of this check, based on the simple fact that the money they getting, plus the $600 that they was given for the pandemic, on top of that 2 weekly, they making more money sitting at home than they would be working. So it's been beneficial for people that's been not working to sit home and get the cut of the check. And so that's why they've been a little hesitant on this second one, because they're trying to figure out how to trim some of the fat out the bills, they say, trim the pork off, right? So here you is, putting in your paperwork so that you can get paid. And so it goes through the proper protocols, goes through the human resource, the manager receives the paper, and they're going through it. Now they use the term in the article, said indicia of fraud. Indicia means that there was some distinguishing things that stood out with the documents you were using. They're trying to validate it. Now, one, they said in the article, said that the paper that you gave had a November 10th date of 2019 discharge. Now, accordingly, what the article said, this is month before you who claiming to do admission and date. So you was using an old hospital note or document to validate for the time. So obviously you didn't think that the times were going to have to be in sync to the time where you are trying to use, right? And then it also said that it had the letterhead did not have a formal letterhead, right? Didn't have it, you know, the insignia of the hospital. There's nowhere stated on, there shows nowhere on the document. It had no sign, right? Nobody signed it. So it was just a blank paper, what you state and what you state. No letterhead and no signature. So what happens? Human Resource Department decides we're gonna have to verify this. Call in. They call the hospital. Guess what? Hospital don't validate. Never heard of you. They ain't never heard nobody like that. So what happened now? They call back up to you. Now they say, okay, hold on. All right, now check this out. This is what you're gonna have to do, Antoine. Santuan and Davis, Antonio Davis. You gonna have to give us this positive test result that you got, huh? Do you got that? Do you got that much? Because you claim you got a positive test, so you had to get that person to be admitted. So do you got that so much? He refusing to give that, right? So he refused to do that. Okay? Now, based on his admission and when he sent in an email, the company said, well, you know what? If he done tested positive, we gonna have to go in here and we're gonna try to disinfect. And so we're gonna close down. And by them closing down, then they also said that 4 people in there had to be quarantined. Now, there were some people that was working there that ended up actually getting it. Maybe you should have waited just a little bit longer, then you could have followed with them. And then if they was cool with you, maybe you could have got the letter from them and then you could have, somehow did it. But the way you did it, you got flat out caught. So now the job is claiming that they lost about $100,000 based on the simple fact that you caused this hysteria for them to do stuff and then making them lose a lot of money. And so you know what they did? They fired you, right? Got them up out of there, right? And they got a charge on you, a federal crime, right? And so they said, based on what they saying, is it was unnecessary economic loss to his employer, distress to his co-workers and families, right? And so based on that stunt that he pulled, they said, man, no, man, you're gonna have to, we're gonna try to put charges on you. Now again, my man might have his reason for why he did what he did. But like I said, you know how the old saying is, you can't do what white folks do. Because see, somebody looking at you, they're gonna be thorough going through the needle in a haystack to make sure that everything you did is on the up and up. I'm not paying you just because. Matter of fact, you're kind of a quota being here anyway. Who really got you here anyway? Sometimes we get lackadaisical, we think we really into this. But that's just what this story was here. Now you tell me what you think about it. If there's anything, I know I left a lot of stuff out of there, but I leave that for you to comment and everything like that. But again, do you think that you could just pull a willy-nilly with your job and, like I said, I don't know what your rapport is with your job. And if, again, you kind of like on edge, walking a tightrope, then you don't pull stuff like that. 34, you still learning. But at this time, you didn't really sit down and put a lot of thought in that. So somebody else who might have been sitting here thinking about that, because, again, based on the pandemic, the way that they got it set up, if you're trying to use unemployment, like say you feel like you're some danger going back to work, but if the job is going to follow the procedures and guidelines that are set by the state or the health department or the CDC, which is, PPE, they're going to give you gloves and, and places to keep your hands sanitized and washed. Even if you refuse, you can't still get unemployment. So the only way you probably could get it unless you are diagnosed and you contracted it. But who would play with that? Why would you want to play with that anyway? So anyway, that's what happened there. Santuan Antonio Davis. But that's less of others who might have been thinking about that. If you're going to do that, cover your A's, dot your I's, and cross your T's. That way, there ain't no holes in your game. We're going to move on to the next one, right? So this next one here that I got, we're going to go over to, it's in New York, I think it was, this happened, right? They said this video went viral, right? And you know what it is, a Karen, right? Miss Ann, right? White woman in distress, right? And according to the history that we have in this country, especially we as BADOS in this land, I heard a lot of times when a white woman starts to, yell for help and call police, it's not the most safest position for a black man to be in. But with cameras and having an extra witness there, It takes away she say, he say. And because of privilege goes to dance on the stress. So let me show you what they talking about here. And we ready to do that, then we'll be right back. Check this out, y'all, and we shall be right back.
Would you please stop? Sir, I'm asking you to stop.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking a picture and calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, I'm in the Ramble, and there is a man, African-American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African-American man, I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And my... I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the Ramble. Please send the cops immediately. I'm in Central Park in the Ramble. I don't know.
Thank you. Viral video shows white woman calling cops on black man because he asked her to leash her dog. You know I'm going to say that again. Viral video shows white woman calling cops on black man because he asked her to leash her dog. This story is coming out of the CBS News, May the 26th, 2020, and this is how it reads. Video has gone viral of a white woman calling the cops on a black man who simply asked her to leash her dog. The woman was in an area in New York City Central Park known as Ramble, where rules require that dogs be leashed. The sister of the man who filmed the confrontation, Melanie Cooper, explained that he had asked the woman to put her dog on its leash. When she refused to, he began filming. He asked her not to come any closer, and the exchange escalates. She then threatens to call the police and tell them a black man is threatening her life. The woman repeatedly identifies the man by his race in her 911 call, in which she demands they send the cops immediately. There's an African American, he's recording me, and they're threatening me and my dog, she claims. The video doesn't show the man threatening the woman. She has also been seen pulling on the dog's collar rather than leashing the animal throughout the apparent call. The woman was quickly identified on social media, prompting the company where she works to issue a statement. CBS News has reached out to Franklin Templeton to confirm the tweet is about the viral video. In addition to being placed on leave, the woman also voluntarily surrendered her dog to the rescue she adopted it from. In a Facebook post, Abandoned Angel Cocker Spaniel Rescue Incorporation wrote that the owner has voluntarily surrendered the dog in question to our rescue while this matter is being addressed. Spokesperson for the animal rescue confirmed the dog that was surrendered was the one in the viral video. As for the man who filmed the woman, his sister said in a follow-up tweet that he is safe. The New York City Office of the Deputy Commissioner, Public Information, issued a statement noting that police were called to the Central Park Ramble for a report of an assault. Upon arrival, police determined two individuals had engaged in a verbal dispute. There were no arrests or summons issued, the DCPI stated. Cooper issued a follow-up tweet about the incident. I wanted folks to know what happened to make sure it never happened again from her. All she had to do was to put her poor dog on the leash, she said. In an interview with NBC News York, the woman apologized for her behavior. I sincerely and humbly apologize to everyone, especially to that man, his family. The woman, identified as Amy Cooper, told the station. She also addressed the problematic aspect of her being a white woman calling the police on a black man. When I think about the police, I am such a blessed person. I come to realize, especially today, that I think of the police as a protection agency. And unfortunately, this has caused me to realize that there are so many people in this country that don't have that luxury. She said.
Nerds.
Hey, Dad, can I ask you a question?
Sure, sweet.
Should I consolidate my debt onto a single credit?
All right, we back, y'all. Boy, I tell you, the technical difficulties, man. Here we are in 2020. Have y'all noticed that you've been watching a lot of shows? It's just like the technology seemed to be like it was just started off. Like we just in the beginning stages of technology, right? It's just raggedy. It's all get out. It's like, I think it's so raggedy is because you're trying to deflect some of the, you know what I'm saying? So it's so raggedy to the fact that it's like anything to make the production that independent journalists and others who are out here doing it seem to make their stuff so raggedy. It just don't make sense, right? Now, again, those who know about net neutrality. So it's kind of like you paying, but you got the lower, levels of when it comes to the information, or not the information, but the internet. So right now, it's like something I'm doing right now, and it's like it's doing everything to do opposite of what I'm asking it to do. It don't make sense, but we're gonna fight through it anyway, right? So what you seen there was a white woman calling the cops on a black man because the roles have reversed, right? We put it like that. The roles have reversed. Meaning there was times when you were seeing Barbecue Becky and I'm hot, I'm white, right? That the initiators would be, black people just really minding their own business. They don't really initiate anything, but in the minds of these white folks, they initiated things. And so then white people come in to save the day and call themselves. But roles are reversing to the fact that, let's say, now for me in the era that I came up in, we understand the term MYOB, right? MYOB, mind your own business, right? Now, I understand that there might be signs in the park that says that people need to leash their dogs, you need to pick up behind your dogs. I get all that. Maybe I'm not green like that, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, the green, the energy and all that. Save the planet. I think that, you know, dogs doing what they do, reciprocal, go to the grass, need for fertilizer. You know, one thing watching another. I don't know, people don't want to walk and step in it. And again, okay, I get all that. Nothing wrong with that, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. But here it is. A white woman is out there with her dog. Somebody black decided to say, hey, you need to leash your dog. Now, based on the simple fact that you're calling her out, she knows she's wrong. It's stipulated. It's posted everywhere on the park. But because you're black, right, she has to now reverse the situation, right? Because we got to understand the fragility of mind and the sickness that a lot of these people got, that you becoming the moral and upright and them being in a position of something that's always wrong. When you call them out, they get flustered. And so what you see here is that the woman tries to turn the situation that you're filming me, right? Not in just to respond to the fact that, yeah, I'm letting them do something right quick. I'm going to put them on there to alleviate the situation. No, she reverses it and you're filming me, right? So this is trying to give her a touche to what you're going so that she can now expand this to try to now use the simple fact that when she sat there right there on video, and she said, I'm going to call the cops and I'm going to say an African man that's threatening me and my dog's life. I'm going to say that again. You heard with your own ears. That white woman sat there right there on that video, knowing she dead ass wrong, would say, instead of just sticking to the subject that, okay, I'm wrong, it's a leash. In your mind, you might be like, motherfucker, you should have been minding your own business, but okay, you got me. I can't really argue the fact. I'm about to do that. Okay, thank you for being a good citizen, a patron of America. I get out. Okay, fine. But it was because you being black and you know, now you're filming her. So she was trying to make it a situation to make you stop filming her and put you in a compromising position by, I'm calling the cops. Now, those going back in there, that's the way they always used to say, I'm calling the cops so you can start running. But, you know, people not running as much as they used to, right? And using that, you don't use it so much to the fact it's like you don't have the power it have anymore. But because I have the third party involved, which won't tell a lie, it's going to tell exactly what's taking place. So let them have to deal with what's being recorded. So she had the mitigated goal to say that I'm going to tell this operator, when I'm calling 911, that a black person, a black man, is threatening my life and my dog. Now, how low do you have to be? And then understand the history and what's been going on within the last 5-10 years. Why was somebody kind of like going back to the story before when my man was playing with using a pandemic, sick note? Why would you play with something like this, right? Then that kind of talks about, it really just kind of shows the character one has. But you're not also playing a situation that could just be to touche you. You actually, when you said that he's threatening your life, no. You did a reverse move. You're now threatening his life. All because he correcting you about a situation that you know your ass is guilty in. So you would rather say, no, I'm going to put your life in jeopardy because you're fucking with me. Right? So look at that. Should this not also be a crime? We've seen this in before where they started to say they were starting to implement that, but because of what done took place, that is being hung up and maybe in one particular state, but again, it's something that needs to go across the board. Because when you sit here and you make these fallacious, phallus, false accusations that have consequences of losing one's life, I believe this here is a criminal charge. And not really kind of like more towards a felony. You understand? Because you never know what officers you're going to get when that call is made. Because the next one after this, you're going to see this particular officer that comes, then see this how this can happen. So here she is. She says this to make this story up. And he's like, go ahead. No, he's saying it, but he's kind of not, he's not really steady in the way he's saying it. But you go ahead, right? You go ahead. You go ahead and call the cops because he's feel comfortable with the fact that I got this camera. But even with that being said, it's kind of rolling the dice. You don't know because she said what she said. They're coming on the call that she made, not knowing that a tape exists that's going to trump what she is stating to after the fact. So that's why when they call 911, you calling 911 too. You get what I'm saying? Don't let that person just be the 911 saying what they're saying. You sitting there with a camera recording, you better call 911 too. Matter of fact, a lot of times when your ass is being pulled over by the police and before they pull over, you better call 911 on that too. So you having this on your side, not to somebody after the fact. But anyway, let's move forward. So she's demanding that they send the cops immediately. She's making this a distress, that I'm in pure danger. I'm about to lose my life. So that was the urgency. She said, there's an African American. He's recording me, threatening me and my dog. But you can see she's pulling on the dog's collar rather than leashing the animal through the apparent call, right? She still got him by the neck. You see the dog, you can tell that dog is still kind of brand new because the way he kind of moved, like, I don't really know you like that. You know what I'm saying? Joe Biden, you don't know me, right? The dog is kind of like, you know what I'm saying? This energy that you exuding is kind of throwing me off because, I'm all about love and you seem like you want some hate shit right now. I'm trying to get away from you because you want some fuck shit right now, right? And so once this video went out, get out there, it got back to a job, right? You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. You know those old folks used to say, shame the devil, right? Well, it looks like that's what social media has given us in our hand. Allowed to, when those situations happen, that we can now put motherfuckers on blast. And based on having you who work for a place, right, own a place, affiliate with a place, people want to denounce you because they don't want the backlash or the bad stigmatization that comes with it. So we see that her job, Franklin Templeton, came out. It was like in response to the incident involving an employee on May 25th. Franklin Templeton issued the following statement: that we take these matters very seriously and we do not condone racism of any kind. While we are in the process of investigating the situation, the employee involved has been put on administrative leave. Now, that was instant karma, right? You put out bad shit because you had malicious intent. When you picked up that phone to call 911, whatever would have happened, you felt like, well, if the cops, let's say, hypothetically speaking, if that brother would have got killed, you'd have felt like, well, all I did is call the cops. I didn't make them kill you. But see, this sickness of mind people got, that they feel like they can do whatever they can do, and then the consequences don't fall on them. But they are the cause and effect of how the situation got there. And we see that CBS decided to follow up to make sure that was it really Franklin Templeton, the guy that tweeted this? And it was like, yeah. And then guess what? She had just got that damn dog, right? She just got that dog. And she went and voluntarily surrendered the dog because that picture and that dog is infamous because why? The video is viral. So guess what? You might try to disguise yourself, but people might remember that, hey, isn't that the dog with that, I call the 911 over there and Ramble Park? So she voluntarily took the dog back, right? And the dog, she adopted the dog, and the dog, it was like, yeah, give it back to us, this Angel Cocker Spaniel Rescuing Corporation. And say, yeah, based on this investigation, we're going to take the dog back from you because I don't think you're a good dog owner, right? So everybody wants to get away from you when you get labeled and stigmatized with that, which is a great thing, right? That's something on, let's put a little weight on our side, right? So that's a good damn thing. But the whole thing is, it was instant karma because you was actually playing with somebody's motherfucking life. You was making this shit from a leash to trying to take somebody's life because it could have went so many different ways. And so based on the simple fact that he had another witness with him, right? He had the other woman that was out there who was actually videotaping, right? And that became his word, their word versus your word, and they had the videotape. So that was just going to show the spirit of karma was there right up on you, and rightfully so. That should happen to you, right? Because this false shit, when we look at history, when we talk about Emmett Till, we talk about what happened in Oklahoma City was in the elevator, same bullshit, white women saying such shit, the Baker Boys in Florida. I mean, it's been many times that situation has happened. And then, did you see the bullshit that she said, right? Huh? In an interview with the NBC New York, the woman apologized for her behavior. No. Apology not accepted. See, that's their whole thing. We do some fuck shit, but if I get caught with it, then all of a sudden now I want to be, I'm sorry for what I did. No. Apology denied. See, apology denied, right? She said, I'm sincerely and humbly apologize to everyone. Your sincere, humbly apology is not accepted. We're not accepting you or that, right? You live with that. You carry that, huh? Then she said, especially to that man, his family. Wait a minute. You didn't care about that man nor his family at the time. The only reason why now is because it's public. It is out there. You are out there. The situation is out there. And now trying to make, again, you want to PR it, you can't repair this. There is no public relation. There is no public repairing this. You out there. And what you did could have had massive, major consequences on that brother. I think her name was Amy Cooper, right? That was the woman that was identified, the one that was filming. And then she goes on and says she also addresses the problematic aspect of her being a white woman calling the police on a black man. You address the problematic aspect. What you mean? You use that as a break the glass case of emergency. You use that when you want to trump any situation, whether you are the aggressor or not. You abused it. That's why it's criminal. That shit should be criminal. Here you are saying it right out your own damn mouth that you know that this is problematic aspect of being a white woman calling the police on a black man. And when I think about the police, I'm such a blessed person. You're blessed how? You're blessed how? Because you're white? See, the sickness of mind these people got. I'm blessed because I'm white and I can use the police at my discretion, regardless of the circumstance at hand. So I'm blessed to have that as a card. Then guess what, system? This shit is criminal. And if it's not criminal, then the whole apparatus is criminal. So she now comes to realize, especially today. Well, why especially today? Because of the viralness and your name out there, your face out there, the situation all out there. Today, I think of police as a protection agency. Only today, when you made that call, you knew then. You just said it out before. The problematic aspects of being a white woman calling the police on a black man. Historically, has always been a white woman calling on a black man, and the situation has been dire. So as today, as a situation, you realize today, this is a protection agency for me. Not just you as a white woman, white people in general hide behind. It's just like saying, look at all the situations that done happened recently. With all this police and killing and people who are former police officers and the shit that's being done, but no one is being accountable for none of the shit that they doing. None of them, right? So we don't see legislations to do anything. We all talk about what we're going to do, change the policies. We're going to change the brass. We're going to do some more training, but nothing changes as to accountability when y'all doing fuck shit. There's no accountability on that. And so she also goes on and says, unfortunately, this has caused me to realize that there are so many people in this country that don't have that luxury. What do you mean? See, you're not sorry what you did. You're just saying a whole bunch of bullshit. That's bullshit you just said. There's so many people in this country that don't have that luxury. Because police may have on the side of that damn police car, we here to serve and protect, but we know who you only serve and protecting. Business and white folks. Black folks, when you call, you may fuck around and call and the situation reverse on you. And here you is calling. That's why there's an apprehension, a hesitance. When we call the police about a situation, you're thinking about that call. Nigga, just get out of here. Because if I call the police, somebody liable to get hurt or killed in here. So you don't understand the luxury. Well, where you think you've been living at? So that was just bullshit you said. Just bullshit. But that's how it is. You get caught on some shit. It's kind of like when you're looking at all the shit that's happening. Is all this just happening because, let's just look at politically what done happened. Like what Charlemagne did with Joe Biden. He said, I'm here about black agenda. I want to talk about some of the black things. And the whole conversation, once you start going there, excuse me, we got to go. Right? We got to go. Right? You can't do this to black media. Right? Because you don't respect that. Right? You just want something for nothing the way you've always been doing it. Now that you're changing, everybody don't like it. When people sitting there talking about, hey man, black economics, pulling their money together, pulling our way and getting out of the white, hamster on the wheel and start building, providing for ourselves. Going back in some of the videos that I made, remember I broke down what it said about black power. Why black power is negative is because black power is come out self-sufficient for self. That is a threat. They don't say you can't do that. You have to be of the mind of what I want you to be, how I want you to be, and do it the only way I want you to do it. Anything other than that, then you're disobedient to us. You're disobedient to us. So you use the power because of those are the things, the mechanism that was set up in this system to use as an apparatus to break the glass in case of emergency and use it at your discretion and let us handle a business for you. You make the call and we'll make the decision whether how we're going to deal with it. And if we should do it in a way that I feel like getting one off, the system will protect me. Yeah? You don't believe that? Let's see here this next story that I got for you, right? Check this next story out, man. This one here. This one here, man, I don't feel good about it at all. It is what it is, but we have to bring some attention to it because we have to. We can't just let these stories go by and they just kind of, some people know, some people don't know. We have to bring light and shine to it. So check this out and I'll be right back. Check this out, y'all.
Bro, with your feet on his neck, man, you get off the
His nose is bleeding. Like, come on now.
That's raw right there with his feet on his neck.
Look at his nose.
You see your knee on his neck.
Yeah, you got your feet right on his neck, officer.
He ain't even resisting arrest.
I cannot breathe.
You just a grown, you're a tough guy. You're a tough guy, huh? I say you're a tough guy. He's not even resisting arrest, bro.
His whole nose is
You fought with him?
Bro, but why you just sitting there? He ain't doing nothing now. Put him in the car.
It'll kill me.
How long y'all gotta hold him down?
This is why we don't do drugs, kids.
It ain't about drugs, bro. You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't even look at me like a man because you a bum, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro.
His nose is bleeding.
You stopping his breathing right now, bro. You think that's cool?
Like,
Get off of his neck.
still on him, bro.
Yes, look at that,
Back on the street.
Are you serious? Bro, are you serious? And you gonna keep your thing on your neck? He ain't
Look at him.
bro.
Just
Real man, bro. You're a real man, bro. I trained with these dumbass.
The fact that you guys aren't checking his pulse and doing compressions if he needs that, you guys are on
oh
another
my
level.
God, bro.
And then he just
Okay.
They just dragging him like, come
Yeah,
on
and
now.
I have your name tag.
I cannot breathe. FBI investigate death of a black man in Minneapolis after video shows police officer kneeling on his neck. You know I'm going to say that again. I cannot breathe. FBI investigate death of a black man in Minneapolis after video shows police officer kneeling on his neck. This story is coming out of the Washington Post, May the 26th, 2020. And this is how it reads. In a video shared on social media earlier Tuesday, Minneapolis police officer pins his knee against the neck of a black man who appears to be struggling to breathe on the ground. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. The man yells as bystanders gathered. Don't kill me. Minneapolis Police Department announced early Tuesday that the unnamed man, who was believed to be in his 40s, later died of a medical incident after police responded to a report of a forgery in progress on Monday. Now, the FBI and state authorities are investigating his death as advocates and city officials call for a quick response. Being black in America should not be a death sentence, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said during a news conference Tuesday. For 5 minutes, we watched as a white officer pressed his knees to the neck of a black man. For 5 minutes. When you hear someone calling for help, you are supposed to help. This officer failed in the most basic human sense. The incident began when two officers arrived at the 3700 block of Chicago Avenue South around 8 p.m. Monday. Police said officers located the man whom they believed to be under the influence inside his car. After he got out, police said the man physically resisted officers. Officers were able to get the suspect into handcuffs and realized that the suspect was suffering a medical distress. Minneapolis police spokesman said in a news briefing early Tuesday. Officers called for an ambulance. He was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where he died a short time later. Police said that no weapons were used at any time by the man or the officer during the encounter. Darnella Fraser was on her way to see friends when she saw the incident unfolding outside of a Cup Food grocery store on the south side of Minneapolis. She quickly began recording the encounter in a 10-minute video later shared to Facebook. When I walked up, he was already on the ground, Fraser said in the Facebook video. The cops, they were pinning him down by his neck and he was crying. They wasn't trying to take him serious. As more people gathered around their counter outside the grocery store, a man pleaded that his whole body was in pain. Fraser recalled that the man's face was being pressed so hard against the ground that his nose was bleeding. Witnesses begged the white officer to take his knee off the man's neck. You're going to just sit there with your knee on his neck, one bystander said on the video. Minutes later, the man appeared to be motionless on the ground, his eyes closed, his head laying against the road. Bro, he's not fucking moving, one bystander pleaded to police. Get off his neck. Another asked, did you kill him? Later, the unconscious man was loaded onto a stretcher into an ambulance. Bystanders who remained in front of cup food pointed at the two officers and said the incident would haunt them for the rest of your life. Police killed him, bro, right in front of everybody. Frazier said on Facebook he was crying, telling them like, I can't breathe and everything. They killed this man. During Tuesday's news conference with the mayor, Minneapolis Police Chief Madera Arredondo said he had decided to ask the FBI to investigate after receiving additional information on the incident from a community source that just provided more context than the information I had preliminary. He decided to elaborate further. The officers involved, who have not been publicly identified, were placed on paid administrative leave. The police chief said the case will be separately investigated by the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions, which, according to the Minneapolis Star Tribune, investigates most in custody deaths. The agency said in a statement Tuesday that it would present its findings to the county prosecutor office for review. As it continued circulating, the video drew swift outrage and condemnation. A neighbor in St. Paul, Mayor Melvin Carter, said it was one of the most vile and heartbreaking images I've ever seen, adding, "This must stop now." Senator Amy Klobuchar described the incident as yet another horrifying and gut-wrenching incident of an African-American man dying. She called for immediate action, including a thorough outside investigation and accountability for those involved. Justice must be served for this man and his family. Justice must be served for our community, and justice must be served for our country, she said in a statement shared on Twitter. A protest was being planned for Tuesday afternoon at the intersection where the encounter unfolded, the Star Tribune reported. The mayor urged demonstrators to practice social distancing due to the coronavirus pandemic, but said he understood the desire to protest. "If you're sad, I get it," Frey said. "If you're angry, that makes complete sense. If you feel the need to protest, of course, we want to make sure that people are able to express themselves." All right, we're back, right? Yeah, it's hard to look at, right? Hard to look at, man. You know, I mean, obviously we could see that this brother was already handcuffed. Based on what this article, and matter of fact, they don't even have the decency to even put his name. They just want to say the black man. Meaning he's nothing to them and should be nothing to you. You mean to tell me you said you, according to this article, he was in a car? He got no kind of ID on him? Who was the car registered to? He has a name, but that's not important, is it? Not important at all. So we see in Minneapolis a situation that's still kind of hot. I got it as it broke. And it seems like this video has been shared on social media. You can see, as you saw in the video, that this cop seemed to have his left knee in the brother's neck and acting like he got his hand in his pants pockets as if he's not doing anything but just kind of resting up on him. But he's applying a pressure on his neck. So what you saw right in your face, in your eyes, saw the killing right in before your eyes. And you've seen the Chinese mug cop to the right of him. Hey, look at these dudes, man. A lot of these dudes got these jobs, man, And they just hiding behind. It's kind of like the story before where the white woman who knows she can call the police as a protection agency. What's the difference when you become a cop and doing the same shit, hiding your bullshit behind your badge? You get what I'm saying? Now, I don't know all the ins and outs as to what really truly took place, but based on what we see here, it looked like he was already apprehended. So once he already handcuffed, what's the extras for? What's all that sitting on somebody's neck for? You hear the man say, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. But that's a joke to a lot of people, right? It was like the Air Gardner. Right? It was a joke over some Lucy's. You know, they didn't want to talk about that. He had already had a case, and nobody never talked about whether a case prior to the same cop that he was being confronted with. And all that cop got to do was let go of his job. And then later on, he gets let go and then he comes back to fight back for his job. But because of all the disaster, the pandemic, I don't know what really happened because they ain't talked about it no more. Right? So all they say is a man believed to be in his 40s. And they said he later died of medical incident. What is a medical incident? What's medical incident? So we're going to use preconditioned issues, sound like the coronavirus. This is what caused his death. Not the fact that he's handcuffed. Somebody got his knee in his throat. He said he can't breathe. Has nothing to do with why he died. And accordingly, they were responding to a report of a forgery in progress. A forgery. A forgery in what? So you mean to tell me, okay, somebody forging something. So, okay, my knowledge, forgery would be either you writing a bad check. I guess it could be a lot of other things that could be fall up under forgery. But once you already apprehended and got handcuffs on you, it isn't the hard part of the job is already done. You have them subdued. The next part is getting them into the car. It looks like, I don't know, was he waiting on a vehicle to come? The vehicle was there, or they were sitting there or letting you to get off what you were doing. But it just didn't make no sense. And it seemed like they were in cahoots to let you go ahead and do what you had to do, even with spectators and witnesses right there. And you even heard some of the brothers say, hey, nigga, you a bum. Your ass doing that shit weak, mom. You a bum. See, but people want you to respect them. And yet their history lets you know you ain't respectable. I don't care even if you was brand new, you born today. You're not respectable as a people. Because it's these people who make you look bad. It is for y'all to clean that out. It's not for us. It's for us to show it, to deal with it. And that's what they want. I'm just going to sit here and say that I believe, how do we go from a pandemic that everybody was susceptible to get it and die from, and then it's like watching, a damn TV show, and then we interrupt this program, right? And then after they done what they doing, back to your program. So we going back to the shit. The pandemic was just, and then now come out, let's get back to what we was been doing. That's what it looked like here, right? So now the FBI and the state authorities are investigating the death. Talking about they need us to get a quick response. I guess you do. Because that video is just, it speaks volumes on itself. To say a forgery and then to say that somebody medical incident that a person died from one, yet we see what we see. Once again, it's always the same shit, right? Matter of fact, when it comes to mine, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait. Right? So we see that the mayor, Jacob Frey, he said that being black in America should not be a death sentence. Right? It's enough of the bullshit as colloquials and sayings and terms. It's time, if y'all gonna mean what y'all say, Motherfuckers gotta be held accountable for the shit that they doing. Period. You're not above unless, again, as we always been saying, just us, right? The system is about just us, not just this, just us, right? And to see that for 5 minutes, to watch a white officer press his knee in the neck of a black man for 5 minutes when you hear someone calling for help, you're supposed to help. The officer failed in the most basic human sense. The problem is we don't know who's human. We know what some people try to claim they're human, but there's a video on the internet that you can go and you'll see that the difference of human is not somebody. Somebody is not human. Somebody is animal-like. But they try to deem and stamp you as the damn animal, but can't really show that other than the fact that if they want to show you against yourself, and then people surviving and doing the thing they do to maintain an oppressive, rigged ass system. But when you look at what, okay, you got privilege, you got all this shit, and yet you do the same shit you do, and then you can't justify it because it's just your nature. And to say human, basic human, maybe the fact problem is motherfucker ain't human. Hey, that's the real point is motherfucker just ain't human at all. And got you twisted in your head. Damn right, you supposed to be upset about this shit. Right? Right in motherfucking face. Ain't no fighting, no resistance, none of that shit. Because they already handcuffed. Once you got him in the handcuff, what resist to do what? That's why he couldn't do much other than the fact, but just say, you know what I'm saying? Because of the position he was in. And you just sitting there, huh? Feeling good about yourself, huh? Anyway, man, I just want to bring this to y'all, man. It was broke, so I'm going to put a couple more to it. Tell me what you think, man. You know, video that I got, I'm going to tell you why they doing what they doing. Because a lot of people don't seem to know why they doing what they doing. But I'm going to tell you why they doing what they doing. Because it's about prosperity. It is those children that are to come. And as the demographics are changing, as they are getting smaller, the fragility of mind, they feel like they got to do something. In the video that I'm to release, I'm going to show you something that Thomas Jefferson said back in 1797. When he said that then, due to the climate and time of that time, when Joe Biden did that speech he did in 1993, it's the same shit that Thomas Jefferson was talking about. But you'll see that video. All right, y'all, man. Let me go ahead. Let me move on this, man. You ready, man? Come on, man. Let me get out of here. That one is that's hard. That's hard there, man. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's just hard, man. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for clicking on the video. When you see your brother, greet your brother. What's good, brother? See your sister. What's good, sister? If you can't do that much, give the universal nod. You know that universal nod that we do. Understanding the time and day we in, we at a crossroad. People picking, prodding, poking, trying to get you back in the day. Baddest one hit my hand, cross the line. So somebody is asking you ready to cross the line? Not many of us got allies. We assume that these allies are allies for the good reason other than the fact that you have an association with somebody. I can't say can they make a movie about John Brown because they made a movie about John Brown, but they got a sissy boy playing the black man that John Brown owned. Always an angle to do a shot at trying to belittle us, make us like we ain't. But I got a feeling as time go on, Creator's gonna infuse a spirit that no weapon formed shall prosper. So that's hard, man. Seeing that. That's just really hard. Because if after a pandemic and back to business is this, there can only be more to follow. You're gonna have to be out here aware, conscious, and on the wall. Cause they said, and I think it's in was it 4:4? What was it in 4:4? Can't remember. In 4:4 was it the devil looks to devour anybody? I'm not telling you to be a Christian. I'm just talking about the words that was said in there. That the devil was seeking to devour any and anyone he can get his hands on. If you ain't paying attention, when he roll up on you, it's life and death. So again, this is Black Minds News. I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Mind. To the next show, y'all. To the next show.